I'm so glad to speak to you after the budget, and we see where actually this money is, because this is a big budget, 84.4 trillion shillings, and it's the largest Uganda has ever had in its history, and it's coming at a time when the economy has expanded quite massively. The outturn for this year is estimated at $69 billion. And we are now having one of the fastest growing economies in the region, that is in Africa, and also one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Now, this budget is full of opportunities for almost every category of Ugandans. It's a budget which is mainly focused on wealth creation and ensuring that Ugandans take advantage of this growing economy. We have wealth funds in the budget worth 2.4 trillion shillings, distributed across different categories of funds for each group, interest group in Uganda, starting with the main focus of our government now, which is the people at the base of the pyramid, the people who are outside the money economy. We want to first integrate them, what we call the full monetization, such that every Ugandan can participate in the economy, as opposed to having a few people in Kampala and other parts of the cities in the country that have been actively participating. The president has been very clear to us: ensure that you get as many people as possible who are outside the money economy to participate. So that's why we have put 2.4 trillion shillings in a number of wealth funds. The first one is the PDM. We are continuing with the parish development model. We have allocated an additional 1.2 trillion shillings under the parish development model. And now that brings the total, it's going to bring it to 5.6 trillion shillings in the PDM by the end of this coming financial year. So far we have already disbursed or sent to Ugandans 4.4 trillion. So when you add on another 1.2 trillion, which is coming, that will take us to 5.6 trillion shillings in the total. Now, this PDM is causing a revolution in the country, where we have seen now participation of people who never were anywhere near the monetized economy. And it's changing livelihoods, it's changing the lives of people, participating especially fast in agricultural sector. That's why agriculture has been one of the fastest growing sectors in the economy. Then on top of the PDM, we have now the Emyoga Fund. Emyoga Fund has an additional 100 billion shillings, which has been allocated this year, this coming financial year. And that will bring the total to about 860 billion shillings now in Emyoga out there. So far we have disbursed 760 billion shillings through Emyoga. We all know Emyoga, they are for specialized groups that are doing those trades which have been traditional before. In Uganda, people working in the garages, people working in the artifacts, people working like women who are tailoring, and so on and so forth, different Emyoga groups through the Microfinance Support Center. We also have the Small Business Fund. This is a fund which was started after COVID to support the small businesses to recover. We have there about 200 billion shillings. Government put in 100 billion and the banks matched with 100 billion. At first it was not, the uptake was not very good because it required these small businesses to be formal and employing at least 2 people to benefit. We have been changing a little bit the requirements so that it can improve uptake, and it has improved. Now 77 billion has been taken by the small businesses, and it's helping in growing. Now it's a growth fund, no longer a recovery fund. That's why we call it now Small Business Fund, not Small Business Recovery as it used to be. It is there for small businesses. We have also introduced what is called Katale loan. Katale loan is for younger people, women and men and other Ugandans who are working in markets. That's why it's called Katale. It's the Luganda word for the market. This fund was started during these last campaigns because these people were saying, they told the president, we have been left out. We can't access Emyoga, we can't access PDM, and yet we need capital, working capital. So the president asked us to be innovative and find ways of supporting them. And through Microfinance Support Center, they have piloted this scheme in 6 markets in Kampala. And the pilot is successful. They had little money which they have leveraged from the capital we give to the Microfinance Support Center for SACCOs. They have used part of it to support this program. The pilot is nearly ending. So this coming financial year, we are going to roll out. We are going to start rolling out through the Microfinance Support Center and support only those who are working in the markets. They will be able to identify themselves. They get the money direct from the Microfinance Support Center, no middlemen, and they pay back to the Microfinance Support Center at a very low interest rate. It's going to be announced formally after their board has taken all the due diligence and other details. Then we have the Agricultural Credit Facility, which is a fund for farmers who are able to add value to their produce and those who want to commercialize farming. It has been running for years. It has now disbursed over 1.35 trillion shillings to the farmers. So many success stories out there, and we are continuing to capitalize it at a tune of about 50 billion per year through the Bank of Uganda. It's a matching kind of fund. They work with the commercial banks supervised by Bank of Uganda to extend this money at an interest rate of only 12% or so. Then we have the large-scale farmers financing scheme. This is for the large-scale farmers. Again, beginning last year, these large-scale farmers approached us, said, look, government, you've supported the small people with the PDM. You are supporting, okay, SCF, which is for value adders. What about us farmers, especially of grain and animal feed? We need support. So we were innovative. We started a scheme where the farmers access money from the government-owned commercial banks. There are 3 banks. That is Pearl Bank, which was formerly Post Bank. Then we have Housing Finance Bank and Pride Microfinance, the Pride Bank. These banks, we asked them as government to use their capital, which they have, and extend loans to large-scale farmers interest-free. They give the farmers, they assess them the way they would have assessed them. If they are eligible, That is, a large-scale farmer is about 50 acres and above. Give them the loan, government will pay the interest and other costs. Let the farmer only pay back the principal. So it's interest-free for the farmer. I want to tell you, in this past year, this has been one of the most successful government programs. They took all of the money, an equivalent of about 169 billion is now lent out, and the government has paid the interest on their behalf of 41 billion shillings. We are continuing with this coming financial year. So in the budget the minister has read, this is one of the areas which the people should take advantage of, the large-scale farmers. Then we move to women. Women in business are also catered for under the GROW program, and also other funds which already were with the women under the UWEP, the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program. We have already succeeded extending about 133 billion shillings to the women under GROW, and also another 135 billion under UWEP. We are going to, the UWEP money is no longer capitalized, but GROW is going to add more money this coming year. It's a World Bank funded program through government, and we expect a disbursement of almost double that money this coming financial year, because they have also sorted out a number. It faced some issues, governance issues. This GROW, it did not start very well as we hoped, but now we have sorted out those issues, and going forward, the women should be able to access money to graduate their businesses from informal to formal businesses. That's the main objective of GROW. Then you have the youth empowerment funds. The youth are also in this budget. Through the YLP, the Youth Livelihood Program, which is managed by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, we've been able to extend over 195 billion to the youth. This is a revolving fund which the youth borrow, use, and then they pay back. And it has been very successful in getting a number of youth to participate in business. We no longer capitalize this because we put the money together under the MIOGA and also under the PDM, but the revolving fund, we left it to recapitalize itself. When the money comes back, it's lent to others. Now about 195 billion is out there. Then finally, the teachers' circle. The president promised teachers during lockdown to facilitate them. Their money was released, about 20 billion shillings, the teacher circle, as the minister has told you. And these teachers, we have now come in big time, as the minister has also told you, to enhance the salaries of the teachers who are the arts teachers, because they have been complaining, their colleagues, the sciences, we enhanced. Government has also enhanced them at a tune of almost 500 billion shillings has gone out to enhance the salaries of teachers, which is just about 25% of what we target to give them at the end of the day. So there are too many opportunities in the area of wealth creation. Then you bring in the other opportunities in growth, investing in growth, the areas of tenfold growth strategy, the ATMs. Agro-industrialization is our anchor program this coming year. It has now hit 2.26 trillion shillings, which has been allocated to the agro-industrialization, the entire value chain, from research up to markets. This is money which Ugandans should take advantage of. If you're a farmer, just to know that you can now face other problems, but not financing, and also not facilitation in terms of extension workers, in terms of research, disease control, pests, and so on. Those ones, government has catered for them because we want industrialization to drive our tenfold growth. Then tourism. Tourism has also been given some good amount of money, 567 billion shillings, going into areas of improving our tourism sites, marketing Uganda, branding and marketing has been given huge amounts of money. You're going to see a lot of new things happening, apart from what you've seen shown where government has gone out there to market Uganda. We are also going to see some new innovations coming in to take Uganda in the boardrooms of every citizen in the world. You are going to see some of these popular clubs you watch also advertising Uganda and so on going forward. Then we have also put money in minerals. Especially the beneficiation adding value to our minerals, over 473 billion shillings has been allocated to develop the minerals. We are going mainly to concentrate on quantification because we have finished the geological studies. We know which mineral is where, but now how much do we have, so that we guide our investors. So quantification is going to be finalized. And then also we have capitalized the Uganda Mining Company to start working with the partners so that we can develop the mining sector and we get money out of these minerals. But also under the minerals we have oil and gas. Later this year, around October, November, you will see Uganda becoming now an oil exporter. We are going to have our first oil. And in this budget, the minister has read, there are a number of activities we are going to do to finalize this. So HICOP, the companies which are involved, our company, representative companies, UNOC, Uganda National Oil Company, and also Petroleum Authority of Uganda have all been facilitated to ensure that we get the oil flowing. So this year we expect that oil to come out. Then finally under the ATMs is the S, Science, Technology and Innovation. It's another anchor driver of our growth. We have given it 1.14 trillion shillings, mainly going into the areas of the pathogen economy, those who are doing pharmaceuticals, who are doing vaccines, those who you have seen how the number of our innovators have improved. Then Killer Motors, to manufacture these buses, they have big orders in the region of these buses, over 400, I think, 450 buses that they are planning to manufacture and sell. Then we have the entire ecosystem of STI, especially e-mobility, is growing very fast. Younger people across the country who are investing their brains and the intellectual property in developing this emerging economy of Uganda. We have facilitated them. Under the STI also we have ICT. We have allocated money to ensuring that the internet penetration increases. We extend internet to all parts of Uganda, but also creative arts. We have put a revolving fund for the creatives, the younger people, the musicians, the artists, the comedians, all of those who are into the business of entertaining us. I think even those who are online people, you call them influencers and so on. We want to see how do we get all this pool of younger people who are hustling with their computers and minds to create new content. How do we support them? So he wants to buy a computer, doesn't have this money. to record, he wants to buy a camera, he wants to do this. So we are setting up now this revolving fund and the microfinance support center. Already we have extended about 33 billion shillings to the creatives sector, and it has helped them to recover from the impact of COVID. It has also helped to now organize them better. There is that Eddie Kenzo leads the musicians. He has been a very good coordinator and has helped us to understand this industry. So we are ready now to support them with money. But also they asked us for the copyright law, which was started on last year. It has been enacted, now implementation to ensure that we enforce it. We protect intellectual property of these younger people. They also asked for a home where they can put up a common user facility. We are purchasing it. Already the procurements have been ongoing. They are Mutundwe. They know it. They have been doing there. We are going now to invest in it after they purchasing it to make it a modern, studio, modern place for entertainment. The Hollywood of Uganda, in other words. So those are ATMs, which in a total, when you combine the money invested in there is 4.4 trillion shillings. Then we have the enablers of the ATMs. All of these are full of opportunities. These are now the infrastructure, the security, industrial parks, irrigation, talk of the also investment in education, health, water, social protection, and so on. So every Ugandan is catered for in this budget in terms of the opportunities. I could go on and on and on, but maybe I could stop there.
So how do we deal with accountability or value for money? How do we know that the PDM funds that have been actually put up, people actually access that money and they actually utilize it to their benefit, not getting PDM money and they're paying a circle loan in my village. So yeah, maybe how has the ministry, which measures has the ministry put in place to deliver service, to curb wastage of resources? We've seen roads, you see a 1 kilometer road, it has billions of money. How do you deal with accountability and value for money?
Very good question. You've, I think, heard the president has told the country first at his swearing in function when he spoke to us, but also at the State of the Nation address. It's been very clear that this new government, the new 5 years, they are going to be Chisanja, no more sleep. He uses those words, but I think people, they think of this sleeping is saying actually that it's not going to be business as usual. And as a ministry responsible for accountability, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, we have already, as the ministers told you, thought out a number of implementation reforms which have to be done. We are starting with the budget itself. We have what we call the budget discipline and accountability charter. This is going to be signed on day one by each accounting officer. It defines 5 key areas that government will not tolerate anymore. You don't have a budget, but you are committing government, which has been causing arrears. You take people's services or even goods and you don't pay at the end of the financial year. This is going to stop. Anyone who commits government without a budget, the rule is going to be clear and the sanction. You will not be an accounting officer anymore. But that also involves the ministry itself, here where I am, of finance. You have budgeted, we have budgeted, and you don't release the money on time. That also is going to be something to deal with and stamp away. Of course, there has been indiscipline in it in a way that a national budget which has been read, like the one the ministers read, does not necessarily mean that the whole of that money will be released. That's why every quarter the law requires the Minister of Finance and the Secretary of the Treasury to issue what we call expenditure limit. It limits you for those 3 months as an accounting officer on the commitment you can make. If you don't get that money in that quarter as you planned in the work plan, please fit in what has been released. That's what they call a release. Every 3 months I call people here in the ministry, the media, and I tell them these are the limits which have been issued. But some of the accounting officers and the other officers in those ministries, accountants, have been making mistakes. Some of them ignorantly, but some of them deliberately. When they receive the budget, they start committing. When the expenditure limit has not been issued. Remember, in Uganda we run a cash budget. If I don't receive the revenue, I don't project that I will get this revenue, there's no way I will allow government to spend money we don't have. But they have been spending some money they don't have. That is going to stop. But the other one is the area of outright corruption, where the money has been released to a local government, some district in Uganda, and this money is diverted. That we are going to now implement a number of audits, forensic audits, special audits, and whoever is a culprit is actually going to face the consequences. We are going to see it's going to start with the payroll audit we did some time back, last year. We carried out a payroll audit, a pension audit, and a number of people are responsible. They are going to be sought out by the CID and other entities anti-corruption. So on this budget discipline and accountability charter, each accounting officer will now stop committing government without money. We will stop creating supplementary budgets which are necessary. We will stop mischarges, diverting money. We will stop delaying procurements. We will stop also causing, for example, implementation delays and implementation kind of slippages. So all of those are going to be included in there, and we carry them forward. The other reform we are going to do is in the procurement itself. In Uganda, why we are facing a lot of challenges of corruption is partly because we are also loose on the procurement. It delays. It has a lot of people who are not necessarily adding value to the procurement. Actually, they are adding cost. We are going to reform that law to remove an unnecessary middlemen. We call them middlemen of procurement. Those committees which sit all the time in hotels, which meet people whom they are supposed to supervise or to buy from. They are going to get out of the system, such that the accounting officer and the professional unit called PDU are the ones left in the procurement. They make mistakes, we know who the buck stops with. But now there are so many people, and once you have many people responsible, you have no one responsible. It becomes difficult to trace who has done what. So going forward, that reform is coming to Parliament soon when the financial year starts, and we hope it will help in reducing the delays but also the leakages through procurement. We are also carrying out another reform of enforcing trade order across the country. It has started, but somehow I think politicians thought this is a joke. I hear also some people starting to argue about Uganda must get disciplined if we want to get things done. If you were a trader, you were a seller, good. You were a hawker, you must get a living. You were a poor woman, you were a poor man, you were an orphan, you were a widow, but please don't sell in the middle of the road. These are demarcated markets. But to move away from there, and you come and you start pouring things in the roads, you start trading things in schools where they shouldn't. You find people selling cigarettes in schools, but they are claiming, you know, we must look for a living. That's not acceptable. Even traffic laws. In Uganda, I think there is no country in the world where you find the chaos. I don't know so many countries in the world on the road like we do have it in Uganda. When the lights are red, that's when borders are crossing. And even cars. When people are driving on a one-way in the different direction. This is going to stop. We are going to implement a number of reforms in the area of enforcing trade order and traffic rules. Those who are willing to break the rules, they will pay some money. They continue breaking the rules, but they pay. There must be a price to this and this. This will help in getting us orderly, and also we do things in a manner which can help us. Then we have also had a weakness in the state-owned enterprises, the way they are governed, the oversight about them. It's another area we're going to reform, how they budget, how they spend public money. We have found a lot of wastage in the state-owned enterprises because they work with in the current regime, they work with the boards, and sometimes these boards are not very strict on them. Sometimes they get compromised. We are going to work on getting them a bit reformed, as you will see. Allocative efficiency also is going to improve such that more money goes to the ATMs and the enablers, as already we have done. About 99% of discretionary budget, as the minister has told you, is for agriculture, tourism, minerals, science and technology, and enablers. And finally, we are also going to centralize counterpart funding to stop this tendency of projects delaying because they don't have counterpart funding. So yes, we are working on the discipline of implementation and stamping out corruption.
Still, about accountability, how has the EGP helped? Is there any progress yet?
Yes.
Is there any impact?
Electronic government procurement has been helpful, but we had some challenge in its implementation, its rollout. There are only 36 entities which had been rolled out of about 340 entities we have in the government. So beginning this financial year, by the way, about a month or two, we are going to roll out this EGP now to more entities. And we hope by the end of the financial year or the beginning of the other financial year, all entities will be on the EGP. It helps because it is transparent, it has an audit trail, you know very well who has done what. It's like a WhatsApp group, as I always use WhatsApp group as the analogy. You know, a WhatsApp group is a very transparent forum. When you are typing, everybody sees that you are typing. When you attempt to delete, you may delete, but there will be a trail that you deleted, and therefore you must account what did you delete. And even actually, you may think you have deleted, but if somebody wanted it and put it in a forensics analysis,
You can get it.
they will get all of that you deleted. So that's how the AGP also is helping. True, we delayed in getting it rolled out, but now we have cured that disease also. It's going to, we have supported them. They are going to roll out and get all the entities on the system.
Thank you very much. We've seen that our population has been growing over and over. The roads we are still working with are the same roads that we had maybe 10 years back. How are you, as the ministry, going to deal with the growing demands in the different sectors, agriculture, health, education? How do you plan to prioritize these sectors that balance the sectors due to the growing demand?
It's all about the allocative efficiency I'm talking about, and the priorities, understanding the priorities, which priorities to deal with first, and because not everything can be a priority. We have now taken a decision as government to prioritize wealth creation and prioritize what we call tenfold growth strategy. And the tenfold growth strategy is simple. Invest in the growth drivers and the enablers. So if you are not a growth driver or an enabler, please, you can only get exceptional kind of, when you want an exception. The norm now, money is agro-industrialization, it must go there, tourism development, mineral beneficiation, and STI. The enablers are security, because you can't do much when there is no security. The country must be secure, there must be rule of law. Number two, infrastructure, both transport infrastructure and electricity. That's why now we are putting most of this money we have in the roads and SGR, but also in electricity. But now we are mainly doing transmission and distribution, but we are also going to start building new dams. Then irrigation, because agriculture cannot work by relying only on rainfall. We need to use the water which we already have and irrigate. So we are investing in irrigation. We are also investing more money in education, health, and water for human consumption, so that Ugandans are healthy, because we want this growth to be done by who? By Ugandans. And then we put money in industrial parks, but also in protecting our environment. Those are the enablers of growth. Everything else now, we don't allow it to get money. That's why you see we have scaled down, as the ministers has told you in the budget, on the expenditure on things like a public functions. Because fine, we need to all converge in Kololo, or drive to a district in Kabale there, or drive to Karamoja, or drive somewhere. But the money we spend on these functions, on average, it's about, the least you can spend is 500 million shillings. It's between 500 million and 2 billion shillings, 3 billion. You have spent it on one day, putting people in a tent, eating, but that's now the direct expenditure. But also government officers have spent money on fuel, have given themselves allowances, they have spent money on a number of things to move to a certain district. The people in that district need more wealth creation. So that money, instead of going to the function, we are going to put it in ATMs. We take it to the people, like extension workers. They go to Kabale and teach the people there how to grow potatoes better. And then solve also their problems like pests which are eating up their potatoes. Also the marketing of the potatoes, adding value to the potatoes. That's what we need. So that's what we are doing, allocative efficiency. Really get the money out of areas which don't add value to the people and put it in that. And also going forward in the future, we shall review again ourselves as government. the size of some entities, how much we are spending on public expenditure. We are going, during the implementation of the budget, cut down also on other areas like the money spent on workshops, the money spent on consultancies, the money spent on things like fuel, travel inland, the travel abroad. We scaled it down, but I understand there have been some weaknesses in enforcement. We are going to enforce that to ensure that people reduce traveling. Uganda is better than any other, unless we are going to because sometimes they say, you finance, you stopped traveling, why have you gone out? Because if a Minister of Finance or Secretary to Treasury and the Director Debt, they don't go to Washington, we shall not get the money of World Bank so that it can continue to support us. But this tendency of going to benchmark that somebody has gone to China to benchmark a road, really? How can you go that you are going to see how a road is built? We have engineers who are taught to let them build the road, and Uganda is different from China. So those benchmark trips and so out. And we put the money in the areas which are going to benefit us. So that's what we are doing, allocative efficiency. That's what we call repurposing the budget. Moving the money from the less purposeful, less productive areas and put it more in the productive areas to reduce wastage.
How are we dealing with our debt financing as a country?
Our debt is one of the things which are spoken about a lot, but I think out of context, and also when people are not concentrating on the critical aspects. Number one, of course, everybody, if we had means, shouldn't borrow. But in life, all of the successful people you see, they have borrowed some money. Unless if you inherited something from your parents and you say, for me, I don't have any debt. Your parents perhaps did it. But when it comes to sovereign debt, actually, almost all countries except those that have decided not to do anything, and they are poor countries, or they got a resource which helped them to get revenue and they stopped borrowing. Like the Middle East there, most of those countries, you see Saudi Arabia and so on. They have had oil for a long time, they have been exploiting it. But all other countries, let it be United States of America, Japan, Germany, United Kingdom, all those countries we admire, we go to, they have borrowed. They have actually debt to GDP ratios which are above 100%. But they are comfortable with their debt and they are using it to grow the economy. Why? They borrow for development. That's why I'm telling you, doesn't make sense for us to borrow when we have some money in public functions. So as we rationalize this money, it will help us to reduce on the need to borrow, but also the revenue. How much do we collect as revenue? This coming year, we hope to collect about 40.1 trillion shillings as tax revenue, plus another 4 trillion as non-tax revenue, plus some money from the petroleum fund, the petroleum revenue, because we expect some fast oil to flow. Then local governments also to collect about 400 billion shillings. Our challenge has been on our ability to collect tax revenue. We are improving that. That's why we have been borrowing, to fill the gap. But the question which Ugandans need to always ask, I've asked this question when I was out of government, I ask it when I'm in government. When we borrow, where do we put the money? Where are we investing the borrowed money? I want to assure Ugandans that we are borrowing for a good cause. We are putting the money in good things which are leading to the growth of the economy. Like the loan on irrigation, solar powered irrigation. That's the kind of a loan you need. So that when you get this money and put up these solar powered systems to irrigate coffee, I now get more coffee grown and more coffee exported. For example, this year, the minister has told you, we earned $2.4 billion from coffee. That's a record. Where did that coffee come from? From government supporting farmers to grow more coffee. At first was OWC distributing. Now we are using PDM as well. Of course, PDM coffee has not yet come. It will come in the future. Those who get some money, they buy coffee seedlings, good quality, and they plant them. In about 1-2 years, that coffee will come. You add it on, you will get more coffee, sell, get more foreign exchange. We are borrowing for roads. You have seen every time the minister goes to the parliament to ask for approval of a loan, it's either standard gauge railway, some road somewhere. That's why the tarmac has improved for people to drive on and go, not for burial, but for picking agricultural produce and bring it to the market, for going and set up a factory, and so on. Of course, when the road is there, even those who are going for funerals find it easier. But the primary economic activity which is done on a road is production. So that productive bit is what drives the economy. So in a nutshell, our debt, whereas has grown in stock and in debt service, it was for good cause. Most of the money has gone in what we call enablers of growth. That's why the economy continues to grow. And by the way, for us who are students of economics, know the best way to sustain debt, what they call debt sustainability, is to have the ability to pay, to create money, liquidity, to pay the debt. And that comes with the growth. The GDP must grow, the economy must grow. Uganda is growing. Number two, the economy must have ability to collect revenue. That's why we have a weakness, but we are improving. We want to collect about 20% of GDP. Once we hit that, you will see there will not be any need to borrow more. Then three, we also had oil revenue anticipation. Now the first oil is coming. Of course, we couldn't sit down and say, let us first wait for the oil, because it's like a chicken and egg. What comes first? When you wait, you will not be able to invest in the infrastructure required to get the oil out. That means you had to first borrow money, invest in the infrastructure. Now we are going to get the money and pay back. So I don't see too much of a problem with Uganda. That's why actually we are under the category of moderate risk on debt. We are not high risk. We want to go back to low risk, definitely. You could be comfortable, like a DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, is at low risk. Because for them, they decided not to borrow. But as you can see in Congo, they can't even treat Ebola. That's why people are running away from Congo to come to Uganda to receive treatment. And then they go back. They bring us that problem because they are running away from a dysfunction. There is no hospital to treat them. There are no roads. There is no water. There is no this and that. So whoever is discussing, do you want us to be in that situation, or you want us to borrow some money, put up this good infrastructure, and then we pay? We chose the latter, and I think it was a good choice. So the loans are for good cause, but going forward, as we get more revenue, shall definitely scale them down, and we use our own money. This is a budget, I think, which is actually written for supporting every Ugandan to become a wealth creator, but also add value to what we are producing. Value addition, industrialization. We chose the industrial park model. We are building the infrastructure in industrial parks. We have now some of the fastest growing industrial parks in the region. In Kapeka, in Mbale, Namamve is also now coming up because of it had the infrastructure problems, but now we are developing the infrastructure. We have a park in Soroti, we have a park in Mbale, we have a park in Mbarara, we have a park in Gulu, we have a park we are developing now in Kasese, we have a park in Chisoro. We are going to litter Uganda with these industrial parks so that people can find places of good infrastructure to industrialize. And we are also inculcating export discipline. Government is giving incentives to those who are investing in a value addition for export. We are going to bring in even export guarantee scheme. If you're going to export, we de-risk you and you export. That's why you see the exports are growing. $18 billion last year, up to March. And this is a record. You know, a few years ago, about 5 years ago, not many years ago, in 2022, the exports of Uganda were 5.8 billion. Now they are 18 billion. You people, these are not just numbers on paper and the screen. These are monies coming to Uganda from coffee, from gold, from vanilla, from cocoa, from tea, from maize, from beans, from things which people are producing, but then from manufactured goods. Uganda now is an exporter of manufactured goods. We have added 31 new products on our export basket, which were not here in Uganda in the past. That is about 15 years. 31 new products, including pharmaceutical products. We have a young man here, Cedric of MHS in Tinda here and in Namamve. He has developed test kits which are now certified by World Health Organization and is selling them to other parts of Africa and bringing in foreign exchange worth over $75 million. These are younger people. We have quality chemicals selling our ARVs produced here by Ugandans here in Ruzira, and they sell them. We have steel products. We have milk products, Lato and so on. We have vegetables, vegetable oil. We have sugar. We have, name it, plastics by Nice House of Plastics and others. We have these industrial parks which have come in. When you go to Mbale Industrial Park, it's now, you may not actually recognize that we're in Uganda, the kind of activities which are ongoing there. We are now producing electronics, computers, we are producing radios, we are producing phones and selling them. So all of these are helping us to industrialize Uganda and to develop our export capacity, which we call economic complexity. It is getting there. Uganda is improving every day.
That's the call to action.
My call to action to fellow Ugandans, especially the younger people, we need to start taking very seriously government policy. When a budget is read, like the one the ministers read, look out for opportunities. Reduce the debates on things which don't add value to you. Debates on debt. You find younger people, instead of taking advantage, they are looking for things which do not work. And many of them are imaginationists. They are not well informed by facts. Many of them are noise. If it is good noise, fine. But for me, the opportunities are now inexhaustible in this national budget and in the entire growth agenda of Uganda. Take advantage. In those 4 areas, either agriculture or tourism or mining or the knowledge economy. And most of the younger people, I encourage them to participate in the knowledge economy because that's where the return on investment is higher. If you invest in IT, if you invest in innovation, because as a younger people, we are creative, we have the mind. And now government has come in to facilitate you to think in a more structured manner, to create, to turn your innovations into business. Take advantage. We have now even a creative industry. You go into these groups and participate than sitting somewhere to look for negative energy. And I don't think negative energy is very good because also to get wealthy requires a good mindset. And a good mindset is created by the ecosystem where you are. If you see that your friends are always discussing things which don't work, just to know you're in the wrong ecosystem. Look for a positive group which are discussing opportunities, which are dreaming, you know. When I was a younger man and I could see the Sulaiman Chigundus when I was growing up, I said, I want to be like that. I want to do this and that. And I ended up going purposefully to study economics and do that. And now here I am. There were those where you can't come from Butambala and you do this. So the ecosystem where you are matters a lot. But for me, focus on taking advantage of the opportunities which are now massive in Uganda. Don't even think of going for Cheyo. Where you are going is harder than here. I want to tell you the truth. It's harder. I have relatives out. I'm the one who sends them the remittance instead of the other way around. So work out that and we will be able to take full advantage. Okay, as the younger people who are into the country and taking full advantage, this budget is for you. The budget is full of opportunities. Take full advantage of these opportunities. We have opportunities in agro-industrialization, right from research up to marketing. Well, how can you fail to fit in if you decided to be that? We have opportunities in tourism. We have opportunities in the minerals. We have opportunities in manufacturing. We have opportunities in science, technology, and innovation. And this is the knowledge economy. And I think this is where I would encourage most younger Ugandans to take advantage, the knowledge economy, because you are the people with the brains that can think differently. Don't just fit in the box. Try to tell us what more can be done to change the way we do things. And you take advantage and you make money. But also avoid negative energy. Where you are as a younger person, the ecosystem in which you work, if it's full of people who are discussing things which don't work, you just know you are in the wrong place. Because the world is made of the two sides. Those who think things don't work and those who think I can take advantage of everything, including where others are seeing negative. So you can change the route and create a new ecosystem. In other words, think positively. Look for opportunities where they are. And they are now very huge opportunities in Uganda. Don't even think of how do I escape Uganda, how do I get out of here, and you go where? You know, whether United States, or you go to UAE, or you go to everywhere. They are all hustling now. The best hustle is actually in your country. Don't think of where actually things are not working.